Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With CurtDog.
Welcome to the show. Let's get this party started.
Yeah, I'm out.
Hopefully, y'all had a great day
I'm
today.
out. I'm out.
It wouldn't
Welcome
be
to Speak. I'm
allegedly
out.
because he
Welcome to
was
Speak. I'm
charged.
out. Welcome to Speak. I'm out. Welcome to Speak. I'm out.
Why, those
Welcome to
must be
Speak. I'm
some
out.
good
Welcome to
wings.
Speak. I'm out. Who you with CurtDog?
Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With CurtDog. I'm CurtDog. Want to welcome everyone to the show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, D Live as always in the house, and also Anchor.fm. It's Tuesday, February the 15th. Early voting started yesterday, so I hope y'all took advantage of it and went out and let your voice be heard. I know I did today. My wife and I both went out and voted today, so hopefully y'all did the same. This is a very important election that is going on, um, especially in Texas, because it's the midterm. Need to make some changes, need to change some leadership around. Most importantly, need to change Greg Abbott around. It's time for him to go, along with Dan Patrick and Ken Patson. These are the three that kept trying to get our election overturned when Trump lost fair and square. And I say the three of them for the simple fact that uh, Greg Abbott did nothing to stop Ken Patson, and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick did nothing either. So Dan Patrick even went to the point when the pandemic hit, said that elderlies would prefer to die to open up the economy. They looking at money over lives. So uh, yeah, we do need to open back up, and pretty much everything has opened, but a lot of business have also suffered. That's why you should always try to support small business, particularly black-owned business, and I try to do it every time I get an opportunity. But this election is a lot at stake for this election. I believe in Dallas County, Amber Givens is, I believe I have a last name right, but she's up for a challenge. She was accused of doing some things last year, but it wasn't true. Said that she let someone else sit in for her um, Zoom call, which she didn't. She was having issues with her Zoom, and a lot of these elected officials, whether if you in Dallas County, Tarrant County, Collin County, Ellis, Wise, all the ads that they play are all talking about the border. And they all been supported by Trump. That should tell you a lot right there. Because if they jumping on Trump bandwagon and what happened last year on January the 6th, it will happen again, but it will happen locally. So we definitely need to make a change in this leadership. Anybody who's talking about the border and all of this, and the problem is with this whole situation, the fact of the border, it only been an issue for the last couple of years. They always talk about the border, but they never done anything about it. So Texas have been ran by Republican for over 20 years. They never done anything about it. But now since Trump brought it up, and that's what everybody is riding on, using the scare tactic that they've done many of times in the election. They want to talk about the border over and over again. But what else are you going to do once you get in office? That's the only thing you bringing up is the border, keeping illegals, immigrants out. What else are you going to do for the people of Texas? So definitely do your homework, get up off your butt, go vote. This election is very important. Um, my wife and I went today. Um, I had an appointment, so she went earlier. I went once I got out my appointment, and we both had the same story. There was a lot of people showing up. but they wasn't voting for. Um, they were basically keep trying to keep it conservative. So yes, we need to get out and vote, let our voice be heard, and make a difference in this politician game because we need people that's going to be for the people. I've said all along, I support Lee Murray for the simple fact I see the work that he do, not just in Texas but all across this nation. Um, to help people. Civil rights. Civil right is not just about black folks. Civil rights is about every each and every one of us. So yes, for Attorney General, I support him. Um, just like the brother out of Louisiana, I support him too. Jasmine Crockett, support her too. Young people doing big things, trying to make changes. We need to make changes because the old politicians that is in office are doing the same thing over and over again, and it's not supporting us but their self. So yes, we do need to make a difference and vote smart once we go to the polls. um the good thing about it, whatever county you in, you could go to any polling place in that county up until February the 25th, a week from Friday. The polls are open, um, I believe, from 8 to 5 right now. And then if you don't get in before the 25th, you have to go March 1st, that Tuesday, and uh, and go to the polls and vote. I would recommend you do it early. Get it out the way. You never know what might happen. So definitely go early and let your voice be heard because these people they're not going to wait for you to come. Don't depend on your neighbor to vote and feel like they vote is going to be the other side vote. No, you need your own vote. You need your own voice to be able to stand up and say, hey, I made a difference. I made a difference. Don't believe that old hype about my vote don't count. The only way your vote don't count if you don't get up and vote. That's the only way it don't count. So definitely get out and vote. Let your voice be heard, and set an example for your kids, for your grandkids, because the laws that's being made today is going to affect them. So we need to make an example for them to say, hey, we're going to make a difference. It's a lot going on right now. So, yes, we do need to make a difference. Get up and vote. Stop being lazy. And no, they not finna come and knock on your door and say, hey, would you like to vote? Get up and go vote. That's the only way it's going to make a difference. Welcome to the show, T Cal. Thank you for always tuning in. Said happy Tuesday, CurtDog. I appreciate it. Thank you for always supporting the show. Um, and share it. Share this show with your friends. Um, we working on some different things. I know lately my schedule have been crazy. um, the days I want to come on, some days I may come on late. That's why we was on here Friday because I got off work too late. Um, so that's what we're looking at. Um, Also, I don't know if y'all seen this video going around on social media. If you follow me on social media, you probably seen it on my page. But it's very concerning. And people say there's not a difference between black laws and white laws. Who the police may feel that is guilty and who they may feel that is not guilty. Um, Welcome to the show, Gabe. Thank you for always for tuning in. Thank you. Uh, Yes, this is live. This is live. We are live tonight. So yes, we are live. You can live chat with us and uh we try to be on live Um, we try to be on live on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. And then other days is replays, not unless something happened like it did last week and we came on live Friday. So uh and you want to know who should I vote for? You have to vote for the person that is best for you and your family, who you feel that is best. Um, I personally, I don't like the fact that people are jumping on Trump bandwagon. That's just my opinion. We seen what happened with that January 6th of last year. Um, I don't agree with that, and that's what a lot of politicians in Texas are saying. It being endorsed by Trump, and almost every ad they bring up Trump, saying they endorsed by Trump, or they may even have Trump voice on the commercial. But it's more to it than just that. You have to look at the policy. Their policy is what you make your decision off of. It's not about Democrat or Republican. It's about the policy. And the only thing these ads are saying today, they gonna build a wall. They gonna build a wall. That's it. It have to be more than just building a wall. Why Texas don't have casinos? Our surrounding states have casino. Can you imagine the revenue that would come into Texas if Texas had casinos? Because that revenue that is going to Oklahoma or Louisiana, it would actually stop. Even some people like going to New Mexico. But if we don't have them here, all that revenue is going out. So, and they can bring a lot of jobs to the area. Then you have um our roads. We have some bad roads in certain areas that need to be repaired. But once again, you have to vote for who you feel that is best for you and your family. I personally, I don't like Greg Abbott. He's done way too much stuff. Um, and Dan Patrick, Ken Patson, who is still waiting trial, and he's using his knowledge as an attorney to prolong that trial, where eventually it probably get dismissed for the simple fact it's only a certain at the time before if you don't bring him to court, he can be thrown out. And I think that's the game that he's actually playing. Um, do you vote Democrat? Do I? Well, he asked, do I vote Democrat or Republican? You have to vote for who's best for you. Pick a side. January 6th wasn't shit, and why such care for the capital? I'll piss on it. Well, that's your opinion, but um, it it was a terrible thing. If there was any other terrorists that did that January 6th, they would have been shot dead. They would have been arrested. They would have remained in jail until they trial and been sentenced eh, real heavily. So yeah, um, it's a shame that it even happened. And then we seen how they was prepared for um, BLM protest in that area. They had Capitol Police and other police force lined up on the stairs to prevent anything like that from happening. But they knew for months this was going to take place, this rally, and they did nothing to prepare for it. Now, this is out of the word of of some of the state capitol during a testimony. Um, um, so it's really depends on how you feel. If you feel like it wasn't shit, that's your opinion. I feel like it's a slap in the face to all of us because guess who have to pay for the damage? We do. That should piss you off right there. That's just my opinion. Um, and then when the reports came out last week, allegedly Trump uh, was flushing files was flushing files down the toilet, stopping the toilet up in the White House. Um, that should be a concern about him using a private cell phone to make calls and stuff. That should be a concern because just like he said, Hillary was sending email from a private account, and that's how he won that election, saying he was going to lock her up. But Hillary's sitting back with a bowl of popcorn laughing right now, looking at all this mess Trump is in. The same one that said he was going to lock him up, and it still haven't happened. So, yeah, um, that's what you should be upset about because Trump flat out lied. He lied about the virus, telling us one thing is not that bad, but he's telling a reporter this is really bad. Until he found out that reporter was writing a book, then he came out and told the truth how bad it was. A lot of this could have been prevented if he came out and said, you know what, this thing is bad. We don't know much about it. Let's protect ourselves. We need to work together, and everything else would have fell in place. But instead, it went on for a long time, and he's telling people, oh, it's not that bad. It's like the flu. And people still say that today. It's like the flu. It's like the flu. I'm like, no, it may affect certain people certain ways, but some people have lost their life. I know um, friends and family members that have lost their life from it. So yes, it is terrible, and it's a terrible thing. So you have to protect yourself. Uh, are you talking about up in Canada or which one? Um, oh, the super highway. I haven't done much search on it because my schedule have completely changed, and if it's not a a major story that I can research real quick, um, I have to do some research on that to give you a good answer. Um, he said it's in Texas. It ran through the U.S., but it was started in Texas like in the early 2000, I think. Super highway in Texas. A lot of highways in Texas are jacked up. Uh, you're gonna hit traffic, so it's not gonna be just a super highway or a highway that's gonna flow real good. All of our roadways are bad and over congested. And then also even the toll roads, um, they're the same. Uh, but, I haven't. I couldn't tell you that. I will have to research it and get back with you on it. I'll research it later tonight, and I'll have more information tomorrow for you. T. Cal said no. It's just because of their lily white skin. They thought no issues. Yeah, that's kind of like the young lady from Texas that is actually um I believe she's still in jail in prison, but she felt like she wasn't going to prison because she was white, had her own business, and she wasn't going to prison. She said this herself, and that didn't work out. So she ended up going for 90 days. And I want to say she about halfway finished with it. Um, Not unless they let her out for good behavior. She thought, well, she made the comment she was going to prison to lose weight, do yoga every day. And I don't know any prison that does that. Allow you to do yoga every day, and you can do what those people tell you to do. I've never been, but from what I hear, you're gonna do whatever they tell you to do and when they tell you to do it. You're not gonna have a choice. You might find yourself there a little bit longer. Um, uh, yes, when blacks do protests, they consider them as chaos, and also they call them thugs, thieves, and looters, and everything else. They do not say it's a peaceful protest, even though it may be one. They don't call it a peaceful protest when it's a BLM protest. Matter of fact, at one point they called Black Lives Matter organization a terrorist group. Now, if that's a terrorist, what was that that happened January 6th? Because that was a terrorist act trying to overthrow our governor, our government. That was terrorist. So I don't know how they could call BLM a terrorist. And I would say, I think it was, I may be wrong, but I think it was Minnesota when they stormed the Capitol up there and tried to kidnap the governor. And then they wanted to kidnap another governor, I think Virginia or somewhere like that. Um, when they stormed that Capitol, they should have held them accountable then. It would have prevented any other issues like that happening. If they would have held them accountable, arrested them, charged them to the fullest intent of the law, that would not have happened. And matter of fact, during that storming, I believe it was a couple of guys that was armed. Well, you coming into a government property trying to overthrow the governor by um, lifting the restriction up, you storming in with weapons where you should have been shot on the point, on the spot. I'm not saying violence is the answer, but if you come with violence, you're going to get answered with violence. Instead, they allowed them to do it. That's the difference between black laws and white laws. If there was BLM in either one of those incidents, it would have been a different headline. It would have been a mass killing going on. So yes, it's a big difference between the two. And people don't believe it, but you got to wake up and look for yourself and look at the truth. The evidence is right in front of you. Um, short story quick there. I'm I'm gonna have to do research on that. I will do it tonight, and I'll be able to give more information on it. Um, yes, a lot of our toll roads we do not own. That is correct, because what happened is in our toll roads here in Texas, the price changed when the traffic changed, which is wrong. I've seen some toll roads as high as close to $10. Uh, I think it goes like um, a half a mile or something like that. But they're not owned by us. These are company out of the country that own these toll roads, which is ridiculous. That's why the price is not regulated. Kind of like our power grid. Luckily, when we had the snow a couple of weeks ago, it did not fail us. But Greg Abbott, when it happened last year, this a year ago, um, what had happened, if you go back and look at the news clip and the news report, Greg Abbott said it was going to be some rolling blackout. But then after it happened, he tried to retract it and said he didn't know anything about it. So, do you want a governor that will put money before the people? Because we don't have to have this issue. This do not have to be an issue with our power grid. For the simple fact, if we just get on the national grid. Instead, they want to keep it private, and then a lot of people receive high energy bills because of it. They don't have lights, but at the same time, they get all these high bills. It was people without lights for a couple of weeks and or longer. And there was a lot of people that um, because they didn't have lights and no way to heat their home, they had other damage to come around. And I was looking at the news yesterday, and they was telling people, even if you paid out of pocket to get the damage fixed, you can still file it up on your homeowner insurance. Um, for you could get reimbursed for it because a lot of people end up losing a lot of stuff because of that. And over 200 people lost their lives because Greg Abbott want to do rolling blackouts. He okayed it. It's on his watch. He's the guilty fault of that. Do you want to have somebody like that as a leader? That's why we need to vote him out. He authorized that. He know what was going to happen. Every year we have rolling blackouts, and he claimed we never have rolling blackouts. That's a lie. During the summertime, we will have rolling blackouts. Why have rolling blackouts? And in Texas, it get hot as hell. Um, it could be 103 in Texas in the middle of the summer, and you want to do rolling blackout. Why? It don't make sense. So, but I'm sure with him, it's not gonna affect him none. So it don't bother him. We can have rolling blackouts, but he's sitting back in the cool air, drinking a nice cup of lemonade and chilling. Probably have a turtleneck sweater on and a blanket, trying to stay warm in the middle of the summer. And during the wintertime, he probably sitting back, walking around with well, I'm gonna leave that one alone because I have no good way of saying what I was gonna say. But if you know, you know. But anyway, either way, Greg Abbott making these decisions because it won't affect him. We seen Ted Cruz run off when the storm hit, ran off to Cancun. I'm still trying to figure out how he went with the business owner the same weekend that she had planned. She probably was having him speak. And then he come back, had like ain't nothing wrong, want to pass out water, then quarantine when he came back, which he should have. Want to pass out water and act like everything is okay. But then also this year, when the ice storm hit, he went on Twitter complaining about the how high Cancun prices were. Uh, so I'm like, okay. But once again, these are the leaders that you allow them to do this if you don't get out and vote. They don't care about you. So you got to pick who you feel that is best for you and your family. Oh, excuse me. You're listening to Speak on the CurtDog. I mean, I'm CurtDog. Tonight we've been talking about the early election, and also early election have started. It will go until February the 25th. We also talked about um, some of these leaders in Texas that we need to get rid of. Um, but also now we finna talk about this story that came out of Bridgewater, New Jersey. Um, I don't know if y'all seen the video of the incident, but it happened at a New Jersey shopping mall where a black teen and a white teen, they were seen on video arguing with each other. The white teen stuck his finger in the black teen face. Black teen moved his hand and said, "Hey, don't put your finger in my face." The whole time, the white teen, we could go outside, all of this. So he pushed the black teen. The black teen proceeded to, got into a struggle, and um, then two cops run up. Bridgewater police came up. separated the two guys, got the white team off of the black team, sat the white team down on the couch, told them don't move. Proceed to grab the black team, put him on the ground. Uh, the female cop come up, place her knee in his back while he's on the ground. He's not struggling or anything like this, and put him in handcuffs. Now take it, they took the white team, sat him on the couch, and told him don't move. Now the whole time he's standing up and he's using the N word freely. Just how my this, my that, and act like it was just natural for him. But the way that these two cops handled this situation, you could have made one or two choices. Either had them separate, you set them both down, find out what's going on, and then make your decision. The other choice you could have made would put them both on the ground, put them both in handcuffs, and decide what happened then. But instead, you run up and the the white team is on top of the black team. You pull the white team off of the black team and then proceed to put the black team in handcuff while you allow the white team to just sit there on the couch as if he did nothing wrong. And the white team was the aggressive. He was the aggressive one. Unfortunately, once they put the black team in handcuffs, uh, they approached the white team on the couch and the video cut off. But these police officers and all police officers, yeah, I understand you have to react fast, but the proper way of doing that, if you see a confrontation going between two people, you need to detain both of them. Don't allow one jump on the one that looked like he's the guilty party just because of the color of his skin. You need to put them both in cuffs. She should have put him in cuff, and then the other guy was already putting the black team in cuffs. But at the same time, people feel like the black one, just because of the color of his skin, he was the guilty party. And Bridgewater, I keep wanting to say Bridgewood for some reason. Bridgewater want to say they investigating it. But a video don't lie. A video do not lie. From the time it started and the way that um, the N word kept being yelled out, not only from the white team that was involved in the fight, but it was other white kids in the video using it too. And someone finally said they only doing that. A white female team said they only doing that because he's black. That's the only reason why they doing him like that. And that's when the video went off. So the thing is, cops, you have to do better. I don't care who you are. If it's white cops, black cops, Hispanic cop, Asian, Chinese, I don't care. You have to do better. In the midst of a crime, you hold everybody as if each and every one of them is guilty. All because they both was fighting. You don't know what's going on, but you immediately assume the black guy was the one that started. We've talked about on the show a couple of last week, or a couple of weeks ago, where the black guy was accused of having a warrant just because his name was similar to someone else. But you mean to tell me once they put his identification in and they could not tell the difference between a young black guy and an older white guy? The name sounded familiar, but it wasn't actually the same. You couldn't tell by the year they was born in. Matter of fact, you couldn't tell by the picture that would have popped up once you put the information in. So you're telling me you're just dumb. And unfortunately, that black guy spent several days in jail. Several days in jail. For what? His life is destroyed. I can just imagine the mental issues he's having after having to be in jail all that time, away from his family. Possibility of losing his job. Probably lost his job once uh, his wife had to call and say he was sick or in jail. After so many days, you out of there. And once they got word he got arrested, they probably terminated him. So all because you couldn't tell the difference. You had many opportunities of correcting this issue. Once he got down to the station, they would have known that was not the same person. Once they pulled the license up in the car, would have known it wasn't the same person. So people say all the time there's no difference between black laws and white laws, but that's baloney. Because the thing is, I'm a black man. Every time I go somewhere, I get looked at crazy, all because of the color of my skin. But then you have certain folks that go out here, the ones that you should be concerned about, the ones teaching their kids how to use guns, then they kids take those guns up to the school and shoot up the place. Those the ones you need to be concerned about. So yeah, it's a problem. Um, that's cool, T Cal. Thank you for tuning in. I didn't even know you were still here. Said, well, Kurt Dog, I have someone call out, so I have to go help my team. Have a good night and a good show. Thank you. Thank you for always supporting. Be safe. Have a good night as well. Be safe going home. Um, yeah, so the thing is, you have to look at the full story of what's going on. Now, at that point, if I was the officer, I don't care what color they were, anything like that. I come up, they both fighting. I'm gonna detain both of them until I know what's happening. But to allow that one white teen to sit on that couch, even when she told him to sit right there, he stood up using the N word. And she never went back to him until after. And then when after they handcuffed the other guy, she just came up, sat him back down on the couch. We seen an incident. I think it was last week or the week before at a college where a young man and his girlfriend was having a conversation. Police come up, detain him, and all of this, and I'm like, really? And now that police officer is being investigated, which he should be. Do not need to work in public. If you cannot do a fair job with everybody, you're a public servant. That's another thing why we need to get out and vote, because certain cities they allocate money to cover lawsuits for the police department. Why should our tax dollars be going to that? Now, I'm not saying all shootings are bad. Sometimes you got to do what you have to do for you can make it home safely. But when you shooting unarmed people or are just treating people wrong just because of the color of their skin, you have to need to be held accountable. We should not have to pay for it. But unfortunately, because they are working for the people in that city, have to pay for it. Um, that's kind of like I'm trying to pull it up. Da, da. Um, if you just tuning in, you are listening to Kurt speak on the Kurt Dog. And while I was thinking about um, a story that had been hitting the news again. This actually happened. I want to say in 2020, and they just made the decision not to um, bring charges against that officer. So this happened out of Orange County, um, California. Um, Orange County sheriff deputy won't face charges for fatally shooting an unarmed homeless man who was in the midst of a mental health crisis. Once again, mental health crisis. A lot of police officers are not trained for that, and apparently, um, he was stopped for jaywalking in 2020 in San Clemente, California. Prosecutor announced late Friday. In a 10-page letter outlined its investigation, the Orange County District Attorney Office said it would not criminal charge Deputy Eduardo Duran for the death of a 42-year-old Kurt Andrews Reinhold. Prosecutor noted that Duran partner Jonathan Israel told them that Reinhold grabbed his service weapon as the three men struggled on the ground after they tried to detain him. All of this from a jaywalking incident. Jaywalking. I've read one story. Um, I'm trying to see if because this is not the same one I read earlier, but uh, neither one during that time. Orange County Sheriff Department did not wear body cameras, so they wear them now. But they saying based up on a camera from I think they said from a bank, uh, seen him grab his gun or his partner yelled and said he got my gun or something. Um, but in one story out here, they tased the guy and it had no effect on him. But either way, uh, uh, oh, here it is. It said this was a racial motivated stop aimed at harassing Mr. Ryan. Oh, nothing more. The statement said, according to Orange County Register, the deputies escalated tactics, including having a taser drone and tackling Mr. Reinhold to the ground, directly contributing to the deputies' unlawful use of deadly force against a man who was unarmed and who had not committed a crime. So that's the difference. That man never should have lost his life. I believe we talked about this right after it happened because it was the same day that the verdict came out for Breonna Taylor when this incident happened. Um, so the thing is, it's a difference between black and white laws, how the police treat us. We want to be treated fairly. That's all we ask. Want to be treated equally, not fairly, equally, like you would treat anybody else. But instead, it's becoming more and more of a problem. And people say all the time, "Oh, it's more white folks killed by policemen than black folks." No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. We seen up in Oklahoma a couple of years ago where a guy stood over an officer, shot and killed him, and they found him. Yeah, he had a couple of scratches and bruises on him, but he's still alive today. We seen also up in Oklahoma where a woman shot and killed the unarmed black man at a traffic stop that was walking away with him with his hands up in the air. She shot him in the back. She got a promotion to train other officers. So where's the justice in this? It's been so many different police killing. Uh, yeah, we seen justice on some, um, on George Floyd killing. We seen some justice, but that's not enough. Even Botham Jean killing, that's not enough. And that was a flap on a wrist with Amber Geiger. uh, 10 years for killing a man in his own house because you was more concerned about your booty call than paying attention to what you was doing with all the signs saying you on the wrong flow, and you get 10 years and you keep trying to get out of prison early. Why? Excuse me. So yeah, it's a big difference between black laws and white laws. So unfortunately, that's what we have to deal with. And excuse me. And then I also seen this other story today. We're gonna hit on it real quick before we ease up out of here. If I could do that research on that super highway. Um, uh, this happened up in what's that? New York. Happened up in New York. Oh shoot, it's not gonna let me pull the story up. Hold on. Hopefully, it do. Well, a child was adopted back in 2019, and it did not bring that story up. Let me see if I can get it a different way. Um, she was adopted back in 2019, and for a non-custodian by a non-custodian parent, which is kind of like what we talked about on the show in the past, where a parent would try to keep keep the child away from another parent. And um so this parent, she basically did kept the child away, kidnapped the child, and I guess took her to her parents' home, and they set up in a basement behind a staircase, put the child in there, and the police been there several times and they couldn't find him. But over the last couple of years, they just recently found her hiding up under the staircase because they came in, and when they tried to search in the past, they was told they couldn't search, they had to leave, had to stop. So but for somehow, some way, they got more information about it, and they actually end up finding the child safe and arrested the person that was responsible for it and gave her back to the custodian parent, and also arrested the I guess the parents of the young lady who did it, and which should have been. Um, that's up under the kind of fall up under malicious parent syndrome, where a parent try to keep a child away from the other parent, or do anything, what if it's talking bad about the other parent or lying on the other parent, just to keep the child away. So that's the incident with this, or even run off with the child. And when you run off with the child don't know any difference because they're so young, and then turn around, only thing they know they with mama or they with daddy, and kind of find out they don't really know the full deal of it. They don't know that either mama or daddy ran off with them, and keeping them away from the other parent may even lie to them and say, hey, the other parent is dead, or say that the other parent was a bad person or whatever. That's not always the case. So you have to find out all the details on it. And people would lie and say anything to try to protect themselves, and to make that apparent look bad and make them look like they golden. But deep down inside, eventually this child was going to realize what was going on, want to know, why does she always have to go down to into the basement and be quiet? And at 6 years old, when she was found, she should have been in school by then, at least a year or two. So that's another issue, because I don't know if they was homeschooling her, but if they wasn't, that means she's behind by a couple of years. So that's another issue that it's going to cause too. So bottom line is, you have kids with somebody work with that parent, because the only one that's going to be hurt at the end of the night are the kids. The kids are going to be the ones that have the issue, the aftermath for what you're doing. And this lying and stuff to the kids, it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary to do it. Just be honest. Work with the parent. Y'all both made this child. God used two fools to have that child. So work it out. Work it out. That's how you do that. But other than that, I will be back tomorrow if the good Lord say the same, and I get off work early enough. I will be back tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time. Please, I cannot express it enough. Get out and vote. Get out and vote. Whatever county you are in, um, pull up the county that you're in, pull up the candidates, do your research on them, see um, who you feel that is best for you and your family. Um, I know Miss Risky said on the show Friday, she had a conversation with one of the candidates on Twitter, and he talked about bringing casinos to Texas, and he was like, I don't know why we won't bring casinos, but I'm like, hey, and if you are running for an elected official, please reach out to me if you want to come on the show, and let people know what you stand for. Reach out to me. My email is who you with CurtDog at mail.com. Who you with CurtDog at mail.com. And we can arrange for you to come on the show. But we're gonna ask hard questions. We're gonna ask you up front, what do you stand for? Um, and it's none of this. No, we're not gonna deal with that. And I would say right up front if I'm gonna support you or not. But you can't come half. Oh, I can't say it. I can't say it, but I'm trying not to cuss as much. But you can't come halfway and want people to follow you and support you, but then you forget about how you got into office. And that's the problem I have with a lot of politicians. We don't hear from them until election time. So it's time to make a difference. Time to take a stand. Enough is enough. Let's get out and vote. um, and the young man, I believe his name is Gary Chambers. Don't corrupt. I believe that's his name, out of Louisiana, running for Senate, Congress. One of them. He's running, but he needs support. So definitely go out, support him. Um, you probably seen him on talk shows, probably hear people talking about it. Um, he's like, hey, we need to make a difference in our laws. We had these same laws that been having for years, and it's only benefiting certain group of folks. We need to make a change. So if you in Louisiana, I hope y'all don't do like you normally do. Don't get out and vote. Hopefully y'all say, you know what, let's make a difference. Go vote and make a difference. It's time to have fresh, younger minds in office. And I say that because a lot of these people that are in these positions, they're older. Not all of them. There's some young ones in there, but they think like the old ones. They older and they end up getting in these positions and keeping those same laws instead of making changes at time change. Um, you have to change when the time change. As for kind of like what Biden said, yeah, he made a lot of mistakes, but he spent these years trying to make a difference in those mistakes he did make. So get out and vote. Do your homework on your candidates. Pick who's best for you and your family. Um, I personally, Greg, Dan, Ken, they all got to go. Sid, Board of Education is up for re-election also. So you got to look at that too. So we need to make a difference in all of these areas. Find a candidate that's going to be best for you. And I'm like this, anybody who Trump is supporting, I will vote against them. There's no other way of putting it. Because if you don't, you're going to end up having the same situation we had last year with January 6th. So if Trump is saying, "Oh, I stand behind him," don't vote for them. Don't vote for them. That's my opinion. Um, and that's all I got to say about it. So until tomorrow night, if the good Lord say the same, I love each and every one of you. Until then, peace.